Hey folks, welcome to the next in a series of short tutorial videos on how to record your lecture material for your students. So if you have not already watched the previous Edu Creations video, you might want to check that out. This one sort of builds on that. This is the next app called Explain Everything. So on my iPad here, I'm going to go ahead and screencasting Explain Everything. Okay. Now this does have a small cost associated with it, but I have found it to be a very good app, and for those who are interested, I recommend it. These are a lot of the tutorials I have created already without importing anything, so you can do just like you do on Edu Creations, which is draw and manipulate right on the screen. One thing I want to show you about this, so I'm not going to go over that in this particular app, you kind of get the picture, but in this program what I can do is if I go to the top and click the plus button for new presentation, I get this wonderful menu, and I can import, if you notice in the bottom, photos. I can go to my photo roll, and I can even bring stuff in from Evernote if I wanted to do that, or Google Drive. But what's interesting is I have my Dropbox, and I'm going to click a PowerPoint file. We have lots of PowerPoint files, things, if you have a Keynote, it can be converted to PowerPoint. A lot of our textbooks come with them. And the nice thing is you don't have to use a canned presentation, you can actually make it your own. So I've just, for purposes of this video, modified one to just be a couple of slides. It's one right up here. And it will start importing. And I say, do I want to use that one? I say, yeah, that's the one I want to use. Okay, so this is a canned PowerPoint that comes with my textbook. I'll click Choose. Right? And it will go through an import process. It'll take a little longer since I just did 2 slides. This will be quick. But you might want to just prepare to wait for just a couple minutes while your PowerPoint slides import if you want to use those. And then there we go. Now at the very top left you'll see the hand icon is selected, so I can shrink this down and I can rotate it, move it however I want. Okay, and I can then on the bottom left advance to the next slide, do the same thing to make sure everything is kind of fitting on the screen. I can then navigate back and say, okay, I'm ready to go. And much like the last app, you can then begin recording with the bottom button. You see the red button at the bottom there for record. And you're all set to go. But before we do that, obviously below the hand on the left-hand side there you have a square with a positive sign on it, plus sign. That means add a new slide. If you want to add a blank slide in between, I can do that. So I can click that. And now if you'll notice at the bottom left-hand corner it says 2 out of 3 slides. So I can navigate to the last one, middle one, and first one. So I could have an intervening slide that allows me a whiteboard space on which to kind of doodle for the kids. Below that, of course, you have your pen icon. Should be self-explanatory. Now below that, this is kind of an interesting one. If I click the arrow and the dot, if you notice when I put my finger, I can draw an arrow, which is kind of cool. All right, I can undo that if I want to do that. If I hold down my finger on that button, I can say, no, I actually want a dot, and watch what happens when I move my finger around. I get a dot, which is, of course, again, very nice. You can add any shape you want. Star, if that's your thing, you can add a star. So there are shapes. Obviously, you have a text box feature. Okay. And click the arrow at the top, go up to the top, make sure the finger is selected, and again I can move that text anywhere I want, just like in the last app. Now here's a nice one. If I want to go below text, I can import all kinds of new images, videos, whatever files I want into the slides. This is getting into a little bit more advanced lecture recording, so there are some additional features available in this app that are different from the previous app. Okay, so if I wanted to go to the next slide, this blank one, and say, oh, I want a picture, okay, you could do that. I'm going to go back to my first. Now this is also nice while you're lecturing. If I click below the red X here, let's say that I want to use right now it's selected on arrow. If I select that, and as I'm lecturing, if I move around, I get a glowing arrow cursor, so I can draw students' attention to certain things as I'm lecturing, which I think is kind of nice. Okay, and etc., etc., etc. Okay, so the point is now I'm going to click record, and here I am recording something, and I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'm going to go with a green arrow, and I'm going to talk to students and say, well, here is a tortoise, and they live a very long time, blah, 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 whatever I want to do. Go up to the pen. I can begin, drawing and writing and doing whatever I want to do, okay? And I can modify my slides. I can go to the next slide, change the color, modify. I can start writing equations. I can do whatever it is I want to do, okay? And again, go back to this. I can begin as I'm illustrating, saying, oh, look, it's a triangle, and I can do all this kind of wonderful stuff here. So there are a lot of features that are available in this particular program. So at this point now I'm going to pause and say, well, looks like I have 25 seconds or so of recorded video. Okay. In the previous slide, notice if you look down at the bottom, I have 28 seconds there. I have 25 seconds on this slide. Now, at this point, I can say, well, what do I want to do with this stuff? All right. So I can export the image. That's fine. I can do that. But what's nice is that the next icon down at the bottom right, I have the option of exporting to YouTube. I can export my movie also to my camera roll. Careful, that takes up a lot of space. But watch what happens. If I go to YouTube, I say, okay, sign in. All right. So now I'm going to get into explain everything. And I can then upload this to my YouTube account. Okay, and I have to accept and blah blah blah. Okay, now this will do the upload. Okay, I'm going to actually cancel this. Okay, and I'm going to get out of the app. All right, and if I go into my web and I've already logged into YouTube, this is an example of what I've done in the past here. So for example, I can click here, and you will see that as it uploads to YouTube, and it will start playing in a moment, I can click, I can move that forward.
So in the carbohydrates, I like the idea.
All right, I'm going to open that up just a little bit so people can see, and see if we can find a place. See, notice that all of my annotations are right on the slides, and it shows up, and you can publish this for your students. Please remember, for YouTube accounts, you want to keep each video less than 15 minutes. The benefit is, though, that YouTube's can be viewed on any device at any point. Okay, so this is Explain Everything. If you'd like to know more, just let me know. Thank you very much.
Steroids, terpenes, fats, etc. There's a lot of different lipids